Okay, today we're going to talk about solving two-step equations. Now the goal is still the same. You want to isolate that variable on one side of the equal sign. So we're just going to jump right in with an example. So we have 4x plus 8 is equal to 56. Now I'm still like to draw that line down the equal sign to provide my balance on one side and the other. Okay, step one is we are going to move the value by adding its opposite. So the value that stands alone is that 8. So we are going to move that 8 to the other side of the equation. So since this is a positive 8, we are going to add a negative 8 to both sides. That way 8 plus negative 8 is going to give you 0, and it's going to cancel that out. You're going to bring down your 4x equals 56 plus negative 8 is going to give you 48. Okay, now it's just like a regular one-step equation. For the last step here, we are going to either divide or multiply. Here we are going to divide both sides by 4. This is a step that a lot of you forgot last year. You're not done until that variable stands alone. Divide by 4, x is equal to 12. X is equal to 12. So that's a simple two-step equation. Now there's going to be a couple of different ways to see this next one. But I have 4 examples for you. So that was example 1. Okay, example 2. 9 plus m over 6 is equal to negative 10. Now here's my variable all by itself. So the first thing I need to do is to get rid of that 9 because this is part of a term. The term is m over 6. So we can't do anything with that 6 until we move the 9 away. So I'm going to, since it's positive, add a negative 9 to both sides. They cancel out because a 9 plus a negative 9 is equal to a 0. So I'm left with m over 6 is equal to negative 1. Sorry, that's a minus 9, so that's negative 19. All right, now we have the expression m over 6. We need to multiply both sides by 6 like we did with the one-step equation, and m is now going to be equal to negative 114. Okay, third type, and we discussed this last year too. We have negative 1 is equal to n minus 4 over 7. Okay, so if you don't like it in this order, we can flip it, which is what we're going to do. But because this expression has a minus 4, we're going to change that to plus negative. Now I'm going to switch it. N plus negative 4 over 7 equals negative 1. Now I want you to notice the difference between example 2 and example 3. In example 2, the variable stood by itself as the numerator. In example 3, the variable is part of an expression. So because it's part of an expression, we cannot solve it the same way that we solved number 2, because m stands alone as the term. In this term, the fraction piece, n is part of an expression. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to multiply both sides and eliminate that denominator. So that's the first thing we do for this type of problem. I'm giving you one of each so that you can refer back to it when you're doing your work. Now I'm left with n plus negative 4 equals negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. I'm going to now add 4 to both sides, and I'm going to have n is equal to negative 3. So be very careful. I'm giving you both of those examples, so when you do the workout on your homework and your classwork, you're going to be able to figure out which example you're going to use for the equations that are given to you. All right, I have one more, and that's using the distributive property. So if I have negative 5 times x minus 2 is equal to 65. So the first thing I'm going to do is change any subtraction I have to adding a negative. So that's going to be plus negative 2. And now don't forget, when you're distributing, you're multiplying. So this becomes, what's in front of that x, everybody? A 1. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10 equals 65. And then we're right back to what that first example was that I showed you. We're going to add a negative 10 to both sides. And we're going to end up with negative 5x equals 55, positive 55. Divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. X is equal to negative 11. Okay, those are the 4 examples, and those are the 4 types of problems you're going to have when you do your classwork tomorrow. So I expect you to have the notes ready to go, and I'm going to give you 3 practice problems. We have 7x minus 14 equals 28. That's your first practice problem. Your second practice problem, 15 plus m over negative 2 equals negative 10. And then your third example, n minus 11 all over 6 is equal to negative 2. So those are going to be your 3 practice problems. So after you take your notes and you write down all the examples, you can go back and you can do, oh, actually there's going to be 4 because I forgot about the distributive property. Sorry about that. So let's do 2 times x plus 6 is equal to 28. All right, you've got your examples, those 4 practice problems I expect done tomorrow when you come to class.